Well, hello. This is episode 12 of Becoming Resilient podcast with yours truly, Pat Russell. I am so delighted to be with you today on this episode. I don't even have a title for it yet. So we'll have a title for it, but we're talking about nutrition today and with a very important guest, my dear friend and colleague, Maggie Millwood, who I have known for many years. And I'm so excited to chat with her and get some wisdom from her that we can share. Because as I've said many times, I'll say it again, becoming resilient. Resilience is a muscle that we exercise and it is developed by the challenges that we go through. And one area of our lives that we are constantly evolving or growing in is in the area of nutrition. Now, don't put pause on the podcast yet because you're going to learn something. Because as long as you're alive, you need food. But the choices that we make are very important and significant to our health. And since we're having conversations with a cancer conqueror, I can tell you that nutrition played a very significant role in my healing. And Maggie and I are both foodies. We also have the same birthday month. And it's the best month out of the year. It's the hottest month out of the year. And can you guess? It is August. So I wanted to ensure that she was in this season of the podcast. And Maggie, I just want to thank you for being here with me and thank you for taking the time out and thank you for all that you do for the community with Perfect Health Solutions, which is the name of her company. She is the founder of Perfect Health Solutions. And I'm saying it again so that you can write it down. If you're driving, you can hear it. It'll stay in your mind. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will be able to remember or write out because it's right there. Perfect Health Solutions .ca. And Maggie is credentialed. She is an authority in this topic. But one thing I can tell you is she will tell you that she is constantly growing. Welcome, Maggie. Hey, I'm so delighted.
Hey, Pat. Thank you so much for having me on your beautiful podcast, Becoming Resilient. I'm so excited to be here and that you thought of me to bring the information about nutrition and what I do. I am thrilled and just delighted to know that you're doing the podcast too. You're doing you, which is beautiful. I love it.
Well, we have both kind of pushed each other to move forward. And I'm just glad that you have taken this leap in starting this company. And I want to start there and ask you right up front, what was the motivation to starting Perfect Health Solutions?
Well, what became Perfect Health Solutions was born out of a significant life change. So I moved from, being sort of a backseat driver in my life. And then I went through a significant change in my relationship, my marriage, which ended. And so I sort of threw out to a few close people, what do you think? What do you see me doing? Like, what's the thing that you think would speak Maggie? And in my heart, I had some dreams and some plans that I put on hold for many, many years. And most people came back and said, well, you're always talking about natural health. So maybe you should do something with natural health. And I had done a massage therapy course a while back before that, which was just yes, I did.
You
A Swedish,
did.
yes. A Swedish massage course, which was like a 3-month course. And being born in Jamaica, when I eventually moved to Canada, I explored the idea, but it wasn't the right moment. So when I had this chance to revisit my natural health passion, I sought out nutrition because I thought, well, I can always bring what I learned from my massage course into this modality, I don't have to be practicing massage. I know a lot about massage, and I am actually very passionate about what massage does for the body. So I decided to pursue nutrition, and I became a certified nutritional practitioner, a registered nutritional therapist, a certified holistic cancer practitioner. So I'm really very, very excited to bring hope, especially to women seeking natural health solutions for their recovery, diagnosis, and remission in cancer. I like to support ladies who are going through menopause, especially because that's a really important time to find hope and to make sure that you know how to prepare for the next phase of your life and prepare with joy and to continue to look forward with hope. I want to be known as the yes, you can nutritionist kind of thing.
Yes. I love that because, just before we came on air, I know you asked, what did you think of what was the, what stimulated me thinking about you? And I said, Maggie, you and I are both encouragers. We're always wanting to fuel people with hope. And
Yes.
so, and then, you told me your part of your mission statement. And I think it's so great because the two areas that we're looking at, like when you think about cancer, people tend to go from A to Z right away, very quickly when they get a
Yes.
diagnosis. And
Yes.
it's normally it's normally down versus up. And that's why, this is called becoming resilient, because we're trying to promote and motivate people or challenge people to think of bouncing back and bouncing forward. That's the reason why I'm here, because I bounced back as a result of it. And so it stretched me. And so when we hear the word cancer, and for a lot of women that may be going through menopause right now, they might say they're not sure which one's worse, but because both of them tend to be a challenge on our body. But
Yes.
we know that our bodies are clay, and we know that this is all temporary because we're women of faith, and we believe that we're not going to have the same body forever. It's going to be changed. But while we're here, we have to manage what we are given. So if you met me, I don't think we were, you met me when I was just probably before I had cancer. We had met. Now we became closer after the diagnosis. So now that was years ago, and a lot of things have changed. But as if you were meeting a woman for the first time who said, Maggie, I understand you're a nutritionist. I love food, but I'm feeling a little bit scared, a little bit nervous about what to eat because I'm wondering how I even got here. What would you suggest to someone who is just beginning to navigate their cancer journey as far as their nutrition? Would you ask them a question, or would you recommend a food source? How would you maybe just approach it just from the beginning?
Well, Pat, with all clients, as you know, each one is different. So a lot depends on the kind of cancer, how old they are, what they're going through. I would perhaps just mention to them that the most important thing is healing. And if this is your desire to be well, then let's look at your mindset. So the mindset is very, very important to start the journey of healing. And many cancer clients or people who go through cancer, they beat themselves up too much and unnecessarily, because cancer can be caused from a variety of things. It's a life journey that often takes us to cancer. As a matter of fact, the development of cancer can take anywhere from 8 to 20 years in the body. So very often when it's discovered, it's been a journey of various lifestyle situations, eating habits included, exercise habits or non-exercise habits. It could also be environmental, it could be genetic, and a combination of all of those and even more. So the first thing that I would probably explore with the person is to find out where their mindset is at, because it's really important to want to heal and to have a positive and an open mind to healing. And the second thing I'd say is to remind them that everything you put into your body is going to have some effect on your cellular life. It's going to have some effect on how your body is shaped and nourished. Even if you're not a believer in natural health, it's also still going to affect how your body deals with the allopathic way of medical healing and therapy and treatment. So you still have to think of it from an integrated perspective, that every single thing you put into your mouth, every single thing you eat is either going to take you towards healing or towards dis-ease or disease. In other words, you don't necessarily have to eat something today that's going to give you a diagnosis tomorrow.
Right.
But every choice that we make for putting in food into our system is either taking us down a road of discomfort, imbalance, or taking us along the road of healing, happiness, a strong, solid health constitution. So I hope that answers your question.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to dig a little bit more. Thank you for that, because
Yeah.
what you said was there's no one food, there's no one regimen
No.
that is going to necessarily turn things around. And, like I've said many times, that cancer has never been, it's not an overnight diagnosis.
No.
I think from the very beginning of this podcast, I said, when cancer occurs, most times we are never cognizant of when that cell starts to grow.
Exactly.
I remember asking the oncologist how long, and he said, that cell has been growing for years. There's not an exact date of its beginning. And you know what, Maggie, I think you would agree. It's just like anything. It's like our car. We're driving our car, and all of a sudden we start to hear something rumbling in the car. It didn't happen the same day that we got in the car, started it, and heard it that day. Something has been wearing away in the car for some time. And so even our nutrition could be, because there's so many facets to cancer, what we've been putting in our bodies over a course of a period of time somehow would be feeding into that cell. It's not just like one glass of milk that, that maybe you've been drinking for years. So, and the part that you said about the integrative part, that looking at nutrition, do you find that this is a missing thing, that people don't understand how that it's all integrated?
Absolutely. Like a lot of folks that I've come across, even those who are not diagnosed with cancer or an illness, they assume that it's either taking the medical allopathic route or it's taking the natural health route. And that's not true. The fact is, you can do both if you want to, literally use everything in your being to approach an illness, not just cancer, but to approach an illness. It's important to think of the integrative approach. So it's key to know what each profession does. For example, what a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist like myself, I deal with the mind, the body, and the soul, taking care of the whole person and analyzing whole foods to address the healing of the whole person. And for example, a naturopath will understand and definitely tap into the natural health perspective, but they're also trained as doctors in natural medicine. And then, for example, if you're dealing with an oncologist, there are specialists within the medical modality to help to diagnose and to understand how this disease began in the first place. So you need to understand that you shouldn't be it's not mutually exclusive. It's actually the opposite. It can help you. And in terms of nutrition and building a foundation for good health, there are people, for example, sadly, my sister passed away this year, and she was one of my biggest health heroes in terms of natural health. She was one of the best encouragers that got me in the field in the first place. And she was so proud of me. And when she was diagnosed with a very rare kind of cancer about a year and a half, well, almost 2 years now, she took it upon herself to fight that good fight with natural health. And I was able to support and help her. And we had a sense of she had to explore all the avenues and she had to get what sat best in her heart for her own journey. And I'm very proud that she fought so well. I'm very proud that she was strong to the very end. Most people who develop cancer like she did would have just given up because of what seems to be the trend in that diagnosis. And yes, in the end, she did surrender, and she knew who she was surrendering to, which made it a beautiful thing. But at the same time, she was so strong, so healthy, so strong. Like I remember doing her hair, which is part of my holistic approach to her and to my clients. I offer different special surprises and services, and I was doing her hair and talking with her. And I remember commenting to her, and this was like 3 weeks before she passed. I remember commenting to her how strong and thick her hair was. And
Wow.
I was just totally intrigued by that. She didn't lose any of her vibrancy, any of her sense of purpose for life. You know, she was a pretty well-known broadcaster for Christian radio, and she recorded until up to those 3 weeks. I think in the last 2 weeks, she didn't do any recordings. But yeah, pretty
Wow.
amazing, eh?
You see, even, I know that this is sensitive because it's still very
It's
fresh for
okay.
you,
It's
but
okay.
she really exemplified resilience.
She did. She
Um,
did.
she got the diagnosis, she understood what was involved, but she didn't let it control her behavior on a daily basis.
Not at all.
She wasn't denying what was happening,
No.
but what she did was she fought through it. And I'm so glad that she was a cheerleader and such an impact on why you went into this field. And
Absolutely.
she didn't let you down because she remained consistent to fight. And this is what we're trying to this is my desire to get across to listeners, is that your diagnosis doesn't determine your prognosis. I say
It
that a
doesn't.
lot.
It
I
doesn't.
say that a lot. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I'd even add that, cancer, it's something I tell my clients too. Cancer is a word, it's not a sentence. And
Mm.
in the end, she had some business that she needed to do. All of us do. Some of us don't realize it, but she had some business to do. And when she eventually dealt with what she had to deal with, it was literally smooth sailing for her. It was kind of an amazing thing. She did everything that was required from a food perspective. But what was very striking to me is that although she knew all about natural health and she pursued it, it was when I sat down with her as a nutritionist that she realized that there are targeted ways to eat, and there are specific things that help your health journey, whether or not you've been diagnosed with an illness or not. There are things that you need to literally put into your system that help you to become more resilient, that even affect your mindset, that affect how you feel about things. Because sometimes we put, for example, if we have a day, and I'm sure everybody can relate to this, if you have a day where you have overwhelmingly consume sugar, you might not be listening. You alluded to it earlier. You were talking about listening to the messages that your body receives, whether you're sick or not, just like listening to your car.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes we don't listen to those messages, but it's important. But I'm not encouraging people to go out and binge on sugar. But if you did, say on a Saturday, the next day you would have no energy. And it's ironic because that is the fuel that we use for energy, but overdoing it, anything in excess is
And
going to have some kind of negative impact on the body, anything in excess. So it's really important to recognize that making those little minor habit changing choices every single day, taking us and transforming us towards health. And if you have a diagnosis, you can still make those choices that bring you back. It may take you a little bit longer. You might need a little bit more encouragement, a little bit more hope, as you mentioned. You might need a bigger team of support, but it's not to say that you can't already position your mind. I'm sure your listeners already want to become resilient, Pat. So it's positioning your mind towards that resilient, that hopeful, that thriving attitude that gets you across that bridge.
This is so good. And Maggie, we're probably going to have to do a part two because we haven't even scratched the surface. And I mean, tackling back, it's interesting that you didn't know. I don't believe that you knew that I had started talking about very early in the podcast episodes about mindset, but you started out talking about how mindset is really the first thing. And I know that we've heard that word a lot. It's a buzzword around a lot, but it actually is factual that anything that you approach, what is your mind? What is your thinking towards it? I mean, if you were going to introduce a new food to me and I'd never heard about it, you would probably ask me, okay, well, what do you know about it? So
Exactly.
what have you heard about it? What have you thought about it? And I might say, for instance, artichokes. What was my mindset? I just thought it looked like a beautiful vegetable, but I did not know how to cook it. And so, but I didn't have a negative attitude because I didn't hear anything much about it. It just looked strange. So taking that mindset and then you giving me the truth about the benefits of, and me being open to it. So I could either say, well, it looks weird. I don't want to have anything to do with it. But then you start telling me the benefits of it. And then my mind starts saying, I think I want to try this. So I think where am I going with this? I'm going with, if you're going to make, you also talked about choices and
Mm-hmm.
changes that
Mm-hmm.
and it's the one thing that I believe that God has never taken away from us is our will to choose. And so man takes it away, but God never takes away our choice to choose. So when we choose, to make a change, it can really enhance the
Mm-hmm.
sugar part. Oh, geez, that could be a whole session.
It could
But
be.
like what you said, if I choose to fill up on sugar Saturday, Sunday, and I've proven it, Sunday I could end up feeling really washed out, lazy. My digestion's all messed up. If there was one food from your perspective, and this is not, and I'm gonna ask this question. We're gonna wrap because we're gonna have to come back again. But if there was one food item that you would recommend that we make a part of our diet, and folks, I'm talking about food. Maggie does not just deal with food. She does integrative. She's an integrative therapist. So there's a lot of things involved in what she does. Nutrition is just not just like one food item. But if you were to recommend a food item, what would you suggest? She's a holistic therapist. So when you say, you know what, I'm going to let you define it. Give me the food item and then explain what holistic means, because I'm not sure that a lot of people understand what holistic therapy involves.
Okay, so I'm just going to mention
And
the food.
you probably wouldn't even say just one food. You'd
No,
probably give the nature of the food item.
right,
Got you.
right, exactly. You're with it. So essentially, a holistic nutritionist means that you deal with the whole. The holistic word means whole. It's not a hokey word, it's not a spooky word. It just means you deal with the whole person. And I remember when I was studying, I realized that Very often we tend to deal with ourselves in a one-dimensional or a two-dimensional way. We forget that we are three-dimensional creatures. We have flesh and blood. We have oxygen going through our blood supply. We forget that there is the physical, and then there's the breath, and then there's the movement. There's systems. There are tissues that are built up from cells and that become organs, which become systems,
Mm.
and everything works together literally for the good. Everything. So if there's something that's broken, then the whole is not going to operate as it should. And that's what the holistic nutrition is all about. And yes, I am integrated because I believe in the natural health approach. There are some things that natural health can't handle as quickly as allopathic medicine can. So it's important to understand when and how things work together. And that's not saying that I am responsible for making decisions that my clients make. You know, if, for example, you chose the path of chemotherapy to support you on your journey with cancer,
Right.
it's not my area to judge whether or not that was right. What
Right.
I would do at that point is support you through it and help you to find the right nutritional support through that journey. So, as a holistic nutritionist, my specialty is assessing food as medicine, which it can be. Food is literally therapeutic when it's given in high doses, when you apply supplementation to that, when you apply certain habits and lifestyles to that whole process, then everything works better and all the systems start to be in tune. Just as you mentioned, the car, you're listening to the messages of the car, you listen to the messages of your body. If you stop listening or if you're unaware, then you're not going to respond well and not deal with the issue. And a lot of times people don't look at the root cause, but that's what I do. I look at the root causes of things. Like, why are you having a stomach ache? Not just, I'm having a stomach ache, let's fix it. Not even let's fix it naturally, but no, why are you having a stomach ache? What's causing that? How long have you had it for? And then I help you to look at, if you have a diagnosis, wonderful. We can work with the diagnosis. If you've gone through cancer, you're a thriver. I know there are many people who address cancer with different words. Some people are positive about it. Some people want to fight it. Some people want to forget about fighting and want to overcome and be conquerors, like Patricia. So, you know, I support you. I give you hope. And I bring you to that place where you recognize that your body is a three-dimensional container. Your soul, the seat of your emotions, your spirit and faith life are very important. As important in setting that mindset, which brings you to the place of helping your body to change and to heal. Because literally our thoughts affect the cells that we have, and our cellular structure is what is changed with cancer. Cancer is really about change. It's really about understanding that this is something that has changed in your body, and how can you help it to revert or improve or thrive to a better position. So you mentioned the whole food, so you got the whole concept that I was trying to share, that foods, very often people eat partial foods, like, you know, French fries in a fast food establishment became a very popular treat and snack to take, and that's only part of the potato. That's not the whole potato. That's
Right.
a potato that's been extracted, sliced, and cubed into a certain shape to look
Right.
attractive. Then it's been dumped in oil that's often refried, which is really bad for the cellular structure and for the health of the cell. And
Mm.
then it's been added, salt has been added to it, and it's usually not the great salt.
You
But
had
that,
to go there.
I know I did have to go there.
Right.
But it's better to actually get an organic potato and bake the whole potato and add your whole condiments to it. That will give you better nutrition than the corrupted oils, the corrupted salt, and even the corrupted potato. Because some fast food facilities, which
Yes.
I won't speak of, actually have a corrupted food source for that potato chip or for that French fry. So that's another story altogether, but at least you get the gist. And you mentioned
Yes.
artichoke. So I too wasn't as familiar with artichoke, but since you mentioned artichoke, I would say that because I'm a huge supporter of detoxification, because this is a way that the body can remain clean. It's almost as if you're giving your car that constant tune up, that servicing. That's what you
Right.
want to do for your body as well. So it's really important to recognize that there are foods, literal foods, that can support you with detoxification. And since you mentioned artichoke,
Wow.
artichoke is one of them.
I
So
didn't even know that.
yeah, yes, I know. I think that's really
I
funny.
think I think when I thought of it, I thought of a B vitamin and
Yeah.
fiber.
Yeah, it's high in fiber, and
Right.
that's one of the reasons it's really good for your digestive system. But it's also literally a cleaner because it has fiber. And cleaning the
Wow.
elimination organs like the liver, the colon, the kidneys, those are all elimination organs that help you to clean the body and get rid of toxins which build up in your system and can lead to disease. So that's part of the
So
journey, because cancer is sometimes a buildup of toxins in your body that have affected your DNA structure. So it's really
a
important.
buildup of toxins
It can
that
be.
has affected our DNA.
Yes, that can be one of the reasons.
So that is one of the reasons I want you to hold on to that. Cancer is a buildup of toxins. And this is why when you talk to a nutritionist, and one of the things that I learned very early on was the importance of detoxing,
Mhm.
um, detoxing the body. And um, any professional that I spoke to about nutrition talked about beginning with detoxing.
Mhm.
Um, and even chemotherapy, which I did have, had to be detoxed out of my body. And
Eventually, yes.
eventually, and the number one thing to do while you're having chemo or any kind of cancer treatment, even whether you have cancer or not or had it, is drink water.
Yes, you must drink water,
Clean
and a good
water.
source of water.
A
Yes.
good source of water is so
Mhm.
necessary.
So
Um,
start today. Like, don't wait for a
Start today.
diagnosis.
That's your first
Yeah.
start in
Yeah.
changing your nutrition. I know people that don't drink water. They only drink coffee, they only drink tea, but they never
Mhm.
drink a glass of pure water. One of the best things that you can do for your body is drinking clean water. And
Again,
that
it's all the
aspect,
habits, right?
it's a habit. And see, so nutrition means change.
Yes,
So changing your habits so that you can have better health. Maggie,
absolutely.
I have to have you back again. And if you're listening to this or watching it on YouTube, drop us a note, drop a question, drop a thought, um, because changing your habits for better health is what we want to encourage you to do in becoming resilient. So remember, we're
Absolutely.
challenging you, we're challenging even that muscle and that mindset around health. It doesn't just mean having greens all at every meal only. It's bigger than that, but it is going to require you having changing your habits and changing your mind. And if you want to live longer and live healthier longer, it's going to require us to make that change. Would you agree, Maggie?
Absolutely. And it's the goal, I think, for most people. They might not have really set out in life to think how they want to live their life. But as we get older, we do start to think about what is this journey about. And
Yes.
some people may not have a mission for their life. I encourage anyone listening to this to try and create one. How do
Yes.
you want to be? What do you want to see in your life? But I think many people have health goals and they don't really talk about them. They think ultimately, oh, that can wait, but I do want to be able to do this when I'm this age. But they never do anything about it.
There
So
you go.
the best thing to
Exactly.
do is to start today. And I'll also share a quote from a book that I share with
Yes.
my clients a lot. It's called There's No Place Like Hope. And it's just a little sentence. It says, again, remember what you're fighting for in life, fighting for in cancer, fighting for in being more resilient, fighting for in bouncing back from a pandemic, whatever. Again, remember what you're fighting for. You're fighting for more days. Today you have one. Find a way of enjoying it. And since we talked about water, I'd say go get a glass of fresh, clean, pure water and drink it. And then you have definitely done something. It's a very small habit, but you've definitely done something to make your life better because you started with just one tiny habit.
And you will feel better. You'll
You
feel,
will feel
honestly,
better.
you'll feel better.
You'll feel
Maggie,
energized.
tell the people how they can connect with you, because they are going to need to connect with you. I promise I'll have her back, but I need you to let people know where can they connect with you offline.
Sure. Thanks, Pat. Definitely through my website, www.perfecthealthsolutions.ca. The idea behind that is to find the perfect health solution for you, the individual, because each of us is very different in our walks of life, in how our body is structured, in just our own personal health journey. And you can also Google Maggie Millwood. Hopefully you'll find me there somewhere. Maggie Millwood, or certified holistic nutritionist, or holistic cancer practitioner, something along those lines.
And I'll put everything in the
your
notes.
thing.
Yeah.
Please feel free to jump on my newsletter list by downloading my 10 Ways to Detox the Body Naturally. You can find that on Instagram in my link tree, or you can also go to my website and find that and download it. It will help you to get started to a healthier, happier life. My goal is, as I mentioned before, to be the Yes You Can nutritionist. So I'm hoping you already are inspired that you can be more resilient, because you can strengthen your body, you can strengthen your mind, you can strengthen your soul and your spirit life, and become more resilient with that. I also run a group on Facebook. It's a cancer nutrition group for reducing the risk of cancer, taking you through diagnosis, recovery, and remission. And if you're interested in joining that, then simply just send me a note, either through a direct message.
And I'm going to put all of your contacts.
Right,
I'm going to write, because some of
me.
you might be driving. I'm going to put all of the links in the show notes.
Yeah.
So that you have no excuse in not getting in touch with Maggie. I would also
no excuse.
I'd also like to put a plug that you can read Maggie. Maggie is one of my co-authors in Stronger Resilience. And she's got a very powerful chapter in there that I know that will encourage you. But I promise we're going to have Maggie back. I think I kept you a little bit longer than I planned, Mags, but this was a great conversation, and we want to hear your feedback on this. So I want to thank you for joining me today. And for all of you who are listening in, do one thing today to move your health forward. Drink that glass of water, connect with Maggie, and we'll see you back here on Becoming Resilient. Okay. You're also able to connect a discovery call with her, but I'm going to put all of her links so that you can connect with her. We'll talk to you again soon. And until then, bounce back, do everything that you can, and remember that you are more than a conqueror. God bless everybody. Thank you for joining me, Maggie.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Take care. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.